Apparently, we are live. Apparently, my mustache is out of whack. All right. I've been looking a lot lately for school buses. And there's some pretty good sites that you can go on, and they'll, they'll nothing but school buses. And it seems as though they're broken. I don't see one now, but so I won't look at that. But it seems as though they break them down into categories. Okay, Nancy's with us. How you doing, Nance? They break the buses down into categories, and they have pushers, pullers, flat nose, dog nose, um, short buses, right? And then they call them short buses with a 3-window or a 4-window or a 5-window. There's Fords, there's Chevrolets. All right, Dave's with us. Justin Z, hey, and Lenny Racine, hello. All right, Inga, right on, right as rain. All right, so today's the 10th, and Keith is with us. Right on. I had a good day. I hope you guys had a good day. My job today, I did make a short video, and I put it on the tribe. If you want to see what I was doing, I bought 2 bunks of rough cut wood, 1-inch boards, 6-inch wide board, and then an 8-inch wide board, and a bunk. I forget how many board feet it is. I really don't remember. I've been buying it from the same guy for a while now, Amish guy over in Tustin. And it was sort of a prepper move. In the past, if I went over there or I called him and I said I need a bunk of wood, he could say, okay, I'll have it for you next Monday. But everything is kind of weird right now, and that's what I want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about this because I think the way things have been presented have maybe not filled in the blanks, and we see things happening around us. Okay, so I had to go through town today for something, and gasoline is $4.25 in McBain, and diesel fuel was $5.05. Okay, so I got delivered to the farm on Monday, and it's quick. I mean, I just have them on speed dial, and there in the afternoon, it was $4.05 for diesel fuel. The last time I got it, it was way under $2. I don't remember exactly, but it was way under $2. And I remember thinking, "Oh, this is nice because you can get a lot done with with diesel fuel." And but I've got full tanks now. I got full gasoline and full diesel, and I need it because I have the summer to get through, and I'm lucky I got it when I did because it's $1 more now. So it sets you to thinking, right? And I'm a prepper by nature. I was a Boy Scout, and then I was in the military, and I'm a farmer now. So I'm always thinking about the next season, or the next process that I have to go through. The next big thing that I have coming, I guess, is hay. I got to cut hay. I got a lot of little things to do. I have some butchering that I need to do. We have chicks coming on Tuesday. That's going to be our first load of chicks, probably 300 or 400 chicks. So I have to get prepared for that. That's not a big deal because I'm ready. You know, I've prepared for that before. Uh, but with this in mind and this group of people, I said to myself, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be a different way to look at this, because I know in the past we say some things like, okay, well, it's only 9 o'clock, so take whatever money you have in the house or your credit card or whatever, any available funds that you have, and head into town and get you some groceries. Get a lot of groceries. And we talk about the things to buy and things not to buy. Let's see who we got here. Okay, Brittany's with us. Andy's with us. Where you been? Zumwalt, where you been? All right. I'm not reading any of the things yet. I got a new mouse, by the way. Jill got me a new mouse. Ooh, Nancy's really doing the farming. I ordered 24 black Australopes. They come early April. Bought in incubators so should be interesting. Yeah, we're getting one too. We're going to get a good one. We're going to spend some money on a good quality small incubator. I had a poor quality one, and it was nearly $100, but it only lasted 2 seasons, and then it just gave it up. Been working my tail. Yeah, sure you have. Sure you have. But here we go. You know, the things that we talk about all the time. You know, the reset, the this, the that, the other thing. You know, all the things that are happening. It looks like they're really happening now. Okay. And like when we just got done going through what we just went through, as we were, if you go back and you listen to it, I remember it really well because I remember my feelings towards it. And I remember thinking, well, should I really say this to these people? You know, these people don't know me. Should I come right out and say it? So I didn't come right out and say it. I kind of hinted around about it for a couple of weeks. And then finally it's like, yeah, I knew this was all a bunch of crap. I knew it was. And we've got to, you know, resist and fight back, and we've got to do this and we've got to do that and the other thing. Now think back on it. Did the fact that I walk into a store and I bark at people about, sir, you need a face mask on, did it really do anything? I don't know. Maybe because I did and 100 other people did, that it did. Maybe so. All right. But today, if I'd have stopped in at this Sunoco station in town and barked at the girl behind the counter about the price of fuel, would it do anything? No. Right. And the you know, we can argue online or any place else about them Russians are bad, you know, or them Ukrainians, they're bad. We can argue all we want about it. We're not there, and we don't have much input on it. We can tell our government, we can tell the people in Washington, stay the heck out of there, but they don't care what we say. I mean, we should know that by now. You know, here's some guy on a farm in northern Michigan, and I can discern that the Wu flu was a bunch of you know what, right? Do you think that the elite in Washington couldn't discern the same? I'm sure they could, but they're stuck in a groove, you know, and for them to step out of the groove and say, I don't think this is a good idea, the system is set up that they're not going to make it, not going to make it very long. So I'm not saying here we shouldn't get involved and we shouldn't resist and push back and all that stuff. we should always do that. You always want to do that. However, there are times when we've got to say we have no control over this, right? So, uh, this operation, it was multifaceted for sure. It is definitely an operation that is being controlled by the underworld, the parasite class of people, the kind that don't want to go out there and work really, and they just as soon steal from us. The banking industry, it's corrupt. We can go on and on and on, and we can say, you know what, somebody oughta. We can do that. We can spend a lot of time doing that, I think, because I've spent a lot of time doing that in the past. But I think maybe the best thing that I ever said was, well, I'm optimistic. And I was optimistic a lot of times, I think, for the wrong reasons. I had faith in individuals and groups and things like that. And as time goes by, it's sort of like, well, was I right in being optimistic about those groups? Time will tell. But I still am optimistic. I still am, because there is always, we always have the ability to work around. We always have that. It ain't right that diesel fuel is $5.05. It ain't right. Somebody's getting rich off our backs, and we still have to plow the fields and produce food for everybody. So it ain't right. I realize that it ain't right, and I can't imagine what it would be like, me and my kids, as we were coming through town. I mean, I'm in a different situation than the people at the store that we stopped at. We stopped at the store to get a pop. I have my two little boys with me, and they think that's pretty special. Pop in a glass bottle. And the people that were working in there, I mean, for them to go from $2 a gallon, a few short weeks ago now, to $4.25 a gallon, that's hitting them hard. It is really hitting them hard. And you could see it. I mean, the poor girl that worked in there, you could see her just squeeze out a smile, but you just knew, she's got a car payment, and she's got insurance and all this stuff. And they're making, I don't know what they make working in a store, 12, 14 bucks an hour. It's not that good, not with everything else. And I just thought, there is a lot of pain being caused by this. And I guess we can argue, we can talk about, is it intentional? Is it done to manipulate us? We could talk about that all the time, but what good does it do? What really good does it do? I mean, maybe it's interesting to talk about, and maybe we should, to enlighten ourselves and to somehow break the spell. But I'm choosing to have my knee-jerk reaction to be, okay, how do I work around this? All right, how do I work around this? It's like when you're in the farming business like I am, and it's fall time and winter's coming. I'm telling you, there are times when I go out that door and I think, this is no man's land. Wind, severely cold temperatures, and precipitation coming down, and I have things that I have to do. I have people out there that are relying on me to do things for them. Not people, animals. I call them people sometimes. They're good people. And it can be really difficult. My tractor doesn't want to start. It doesn't want to function properly when it's really cold like that. And my body doesn't want to function properly when it's cold like that. I have a face mask on, and then my glasses fog up, and then I'm getting hit with snow in the eyes and stuff. It can be tough. It can be really tough. And as that is coming, when I'm going into fall, I'm thinking, that's coming. I know that's coming, right? I don't call up 9 and 10 News and talk to the weatherman and say, you got to do something about this. I don't do that. I don't, it's a waste of time. I don't do that. Obviously, it's a waste of time. He can't do anything about it. I don't come in and throw things around, well, at least not much, and make my wife's life miserable by complaining about how rotten it is out. I don't, I don't, that doesn't do good. What I do is I make sure that I have plenty of wood, and I get out there when it's decent, and I cut and split wood and make sure there's plenty of it to the house. I make sure that the wood stove's blazing, so when you come in, you're in a safe zone. I can't imagine living in a house that's as cold as it is outside. I'm watching this series right now about the American Revolution. I've told you about it. Turn, really good. Washington Spies. And General Washington, he's got it way better than everybody else at Valley Forge, but he's in a tent. And it's just a white linen tent, and he's got a desk. There's no source of heat in there. And when he comes in from outside, he takes his jacket off. I'm working right now in the wood shop, and I tell you, without my torpedo heater running in there, it is colder in there than it is outside. And when I shut the torpedo off, in no time, I can see my breath. It is cold, right? So I am of the opinion right now, with all the studying that I do and all the contacts that I have and just my gut, I'm of the opinion that we are going into austerity measures. Now, the severity of that, I don't know. But since Monday, I went downtown to see what gasoline was. I purchased it here at the farm, and I forget what I paid for gasoline. That's not my primary thing. I mean, I do buy gasoline, but it goes for the Jeep, and I got a gas tractor, but I don't use it all that much, so it's not that big a deal. But I went downtown and it was $4.15, and now today, Thursday, so 1, 2, 3 days later, it's $4.25. Now that's pretty damn aggressive, if you ask me. And it's like this. You can just see that whoever's making these decisions is saying, well, this is going to hurt, And of course, they're saying it's because of Russia, all that stuff. And of course, there's two sides of the story. Vladimir Putin, he is our hero because he's blowing up chemical weapons plants like the one in Wuhan. But then you hear the people that are just taking their face masks off saying, those poor Ukrainians. So I kind of know who I would naturally line up behind. If Kamala Harris is saying the poor Ukrainians and we need to send them billions of dollars so they can buy weapons to fight the Russians, I'm probably thinking the Ukrainians are probably, well, I do know that they employed Hunter Biden and Nancy Pelosi's son and John Kerry's son in the energy business, right? I don't think so. I think it's probably a pretty corrupt place. And so I think there's something fishy going on there. And yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, it does matter. I care what goes on in the world, but my primary is to see this storm coming and prepare for it. So I chose to call this Prohibition, the end of quality of life in the United States, right? So and I think it's an interesting corollary, right? If you study Prohibition and you hear about the government's reason for Prohibition, you will, and I was told as a kid that, well, the government was concerned about all these people who were becoming alcoholics, and then women's groups got together and petitioned the government to ban the sale and manufacture and possession alcoholic beverages, right? And so we got, I forget which amendment it was, but it was the prohibition of alcohol. It was called Prohibition, and it was signed into law. If I don't remember who did, and I don't really know that much about it actually, but I know enough about it to know that the U.S. government does not care how many alcoholics there are, right? What they were doing was they were uh, preempting. They were putting the kibosh to farms like this that were producing their own fuel. It was alcohol, right? And there were manufacturing outfits that were not only producing their own fuel, but they were producing a lot of fuel, and they were selling it cheaper than the petroleum. So the petroleum guys got together, and they're the ones that petitioned the U.S. government. And of course, the U.S. government says, well, we can't do that. We can't do that. Well, how about this? How about this green right here? Oh, we can do that. We'll just have to change the reason why. We'll just have to lie to the people and tell them we're doing it for their benefit, and we can do it. Well, is there, that's a matter of record, actually. You can find the documents that that prove that. This is not conjecture on my part. This is what happened. This is what Prohibition was about. So what's going on right now is going to be sold to us as it ain't our fault. It's Putin. I even heard Dopey say that today. He said, "What your problem isn't with me, it's with Putin." Well, maybe it is. I don't know, but I don't think so. But it doesn't matter. It's still a storm on our horizon, and we have got to do something about it, right? Now, there's the micro and the macro. The micro would be, okay, how am I going to navigate this so that I make out okay, so that I'm able to still put food on the table, still able to stay on my property, and still able to continue to do what I'm doing. Okay, how do I do that? Right? You have to think out of the box. If you listen to the talking heads, they will say, well, doesn't look like you've been going to the movies as much this summer. You're going to have to spend the money that you would be going to the movies. You're going to have to spend it just on fuel just to get yourself to work, right? So what does that play into? That plays into austerity, death and destruction. That plays into that narrative. That's not so good. Or, well, you won't be eating steak anymore. You're going to be eating macaroni and cheese. Get used to it. Beans and rice. And the money that you save is going to have to go in your tank. That doesn't sound good, does it? Doesn't sound good. And price of stuff at the store, it's going to go up. I talked to a friend today, and he's a trucker, and he says, we always pass on fuel. It's not like the truckers are going to say, well, I'll take this tank of gas in the shorts just so people at the store can get cheaper food this time. No, they're not going to. And then you have the because we can factor, right? Everybody in the chain of command is going to say, well, I can get a little bit extra now because I can, and just blame it on the Russians, freaking Russians, right? It's always the damn Russians. I really don't believe that. I actually think that the Russians are good people, and I'm not going to say any more. What can I say about Vladdy? What do I know? I do remember exchange between him and Trump where he handed Trump a soccer ball, and he said, the ball is in your court, right? And I do listen to certain people that are saying that you have Trump, Putin, and Xi that are working against the deep staters, the Chinese Communist Party, the Russian Communist Party, whatever it's called. And in the States, I don't even know what they call it, but we definitely have communists here. So some people say that they are aligned and they're good people. That could be. It could very well be. I know that when I've had struggles with the state, I did come in contact with good people. I mean, you look them in the eye, you hear the tone of their voice, your gut tells you that they're good people, but they are in the same position that you're in. They're outnumbered by sleazebags, cheaters, parasites, you name it. And the sleazebags, the cheaters, and the parasites, they sit around all day and figure out how they're going to scam people. So they've got multiple layers of scamming, and it becomes pretty difficult to do the right thing. It really does. It becomes difficult. So anyway, that is going on. The fix on this, unless I see an opportunity to jump in and fix things, the fix on this is above my pay grade or above my knowledge base. And I am like everybody, I'm a cork on the ocean and I just have to take it as it comes. It's sort of like if we had been alive during the time, and maybe some of you are, uh, um, the Depression came. You know, you could be in the know, you could be reading newspapers, you could be knowing everything there is to know about economics in the United States. It didn't matter. You were still going to, you know, you were still going to get rained on by the Depression. And I maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just the things that I've heard as a kid and my grandparents were definitely in the Depression. My father was too. My mother and father both were, but they were young. Um, my father was born in 21. So he would have just, grown up with the Depression mode. And, but I remember hearing the stories from my grandparents when they'd sit around and say, well, how it was and then how it became. It became a lot worse, right? A lot worse. And so they didn't really spend much time complaining. They just, what are we going to do? We got to do something, right? And then I really resonated with the Waltons. I used to really like to watch that show. And I used to look at the Waltons and think, wow, I wish I had that lifestyle. And then I sort of did in a way. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the woods, a lot of time barefoot. I went to a couple of movies when I was a kid, and the first one I went to was really not a good movie. And I remember feeling really sick at that movie. It wasn't my thing. People were talking and stuff. I mean, I lived, it would be classified as suburbs now, I guess. But then in between my parents' house and the next thing was Dean Park. And it probably was a mile of woods. And there was no houses. There were stone walls. It had been farmed, but this is Massachusetts. These stone walls were built by colonials, right? And I used to hang around there. I mean, there was a monument that said, near this spot, Nathan Howe left his plow in the furrow to respond to the Lexington alarm of April 18th, 1776 or 1774. And what that was a couple of days after the confrontation at on the green at Lexington and at Concord Bridge, where Concord Bridge, the Minutemen put a hurting on the British soldiers, um, real big hurting. But and that was the shot that was heard around the world was fired at Lexington Green, and supposedly nobody knows who fired it, but several people were killed at Lexington, colonists, no British. And by the time the British who were marching got to Concord, which I don't know how many miles it is. I think driving, I mean, I lived in Lexington and then I went to school in Concord. So it was probably a good 15-minute drive. Marching, It probably took them 4 hours to get there, but several people went on horseback and got the word out. I mean, it wasn't just one guy. It wasn't just Paul Revere. It was like many, many people. They saw this coming and got the word out. And by the time the British got to Concord Bridge, there was a lot of guys there, and they were ready to rock, and they did. They rocked them hard. You know, the British were like, they wanted to get in a line and face each other and shoot, and then reload and then shoot again. But the colonists were like, screw that. They hid behind trees, boom, reloaded. There's a guy on a horse, boom, right? And that's not how the British fought. So we were more guerrilla fighters, and the British were more like, I don't know what you'd call it, formal, traditional warfare. Kind of dumb, actually. But anyway, yeah, that's how I grew up. I spent lots of times in the woods, and I used to think around, you know, what would it be like if I had to put food on the table? If I had to grow a garden, what would that be like? And I've kept that my whole life. I had one incident in the Air Force where I did not take the food that I was supposed to take with me because I didn't want to carry it, and I thought they'll have something when we get there, and they didn't. And I didn't go hungry, but I thought I was going to go hungry. And I thought, I'm never going to let that happen again. That's not going to happen to me again. That is the worst, right? That is the worst. And I did visit countries where people are perpetually hungry. Yeah. And hunger is something that is used to manipulate people. It is used to manipulate people. Make no mistake about it. You're 3 days away from doing things that you never thought you'd do. That's the way hunger works. So, is austerity on the horizon? I believe so. I just don't know how bad. And I think that we need to set our minds today. I need to covet your input right on here in this chat, because I can sit here and I can yak all the time. I know what I do, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. How are you going to work around this? And I'll be honest with you, I have heard some things that, well, we'll do this, but those things have changed now that fuel is going to be $5 a gallon, and maybe higher than that by the middle of summer. You know, if it goes on the trajectory it's going, it seems like it could be $6 by the end of next week. It could, right? So, you know, some of the things that people have said to me that, well, we'll just have to do this. Hey, keep in mind, you know, you're going to spend a gallon's worth of fuel to get there and back. You know, the money that you're spending on a gallon's worth of fuel, you could go to the store right now and buy that much sugar. So you got to think things through. You got to think things through. It isn't like, you know, fuel changes everything. And the price of staples at the store is going to go up as well. So I just thought, let's do this. Let me ask you for your input on this. What are some of the things that we can do? Now, okay, I right up front, I titled this Prohibition. So yeah, I got something on my mind. I definitely have something on my mind. Some people during Prohibition, they did pretty good. Where before Prohibition, I'm not going to drink that. I'm not going to drink that rot gut. I'll get the good stuff. I'll get the Jack Daniels. I can get it down at Ike Godsey's store. I don't have to buy this rot gut. You see you catch my drift? Now, the Kennedy clan, the way the story goes, Joe Kennedy made all his money bootlegging whiskey, right? So they did a workaround, and not just a workaround. They weren't just saying, well, okay, we've got our whiskey. They're saying, hey, there's an opportunity here. So that's my angle on this. It's not just, oh, how are we going to eat? Is there an angle here? Is there an angle here where the crafty homesteader can actually prosper in these? Is there anything wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with prospering? Okay, you take the time to homestead, to educate yourself via this meetup and put all this input in. If you're doing something different than the next guy, and all of a sudden, wow, this works in this time, should you not be compensated for that? You know, and I could just hear people saying, oh, you're taking advantage of a bad situation. Well, I didn't create the bad situation. I used to drive tow trucks for a living too. And my boss definitely took advantage of a bad situation, a car crash. And he would charge, $1,000 to pull something out of the ditch and drag it to the junkyard. And so he was kind of happy when we had icy weather, because then he could send me out and pay me $6 an hour and charge, the insurance company thousands, right? So we're not creating this situation that's coming, but we have to work around it, right? So let's see if any of yous have any ideas. Okay, I haven't been reading it. You got a lot of stuff written down. Okay, I want to see if anybody has any ideas. How are we going to wind up being Joe Kennedy in the next 2 years? If what I'm saying is possibility and we have hard times coming, austerity, fuel is going to be scarce, food is going to be scarce. The type of food that you want is not going to be available to you, maybe because you're buying this fuel, you can't afford the T-bone once a week. Going out to eat might just be totally out of the question. Totally out of the question. Okay? So these are the pieces that are on the table. How are we going to turn this? Let's not just survive. Let's thrive. Let's thrive through this. Okay? So how are we going to do that? Let's see if we have any good ideas. Okay, it's starting to look like we need food prepping for years, not several months. It's starting to look like we needed to, look, yeah. All right, well, that's valid. I mean, but you can't do anything about that now. You can't. You just can't, okay? Okay, Nancy's got something. I ordered 24 black australopes. They come early April, bought an incubator, so it should be interesting. Aha. Why is that interesting? I tell you what, your black australopes, if you look at them as egg layers, you got eggs. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Really cool. You can have eggs for breakfast, where a lot of people might not be having eggs for breakfast. And it's a good breed, right? That's very important. They are going to make eggs in the spring. And if you don't give them the food they need, they will go find it. Now, I recommend that you get smart about allowing your chickens to forage, and the way that's done, maybe you already know. But in austere times, a bag of feed right now is, I don't know, a 50-pound bag is, let's say it's $12. Well, let's say it goes to 18. That's going to be some pretty expensive eggs, right? So you're not going to want to, keep filling the feeder. You're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to take out, a little bit of it in your apron, right? You hold your apron up. You got one. I know you do, Nancy. You hold your apron up and you got a couple handfuls of that feed in there, and then you go out and then you throw it, right? And you throw it all over the yard. And what do the chickens do? They got nothing better to do. They spend the next, 6 hours finding every speck and eating it. And then, oh, here's a bug. I'll eat that too. Oh, here's a seed. Let me eat that. Right? That's how you do that. Right? You don't just, put 50 pounds in the feeder. Don't do that. And what's going to happen in the spring, you're going to get an egg a day, and it's going to be real nice. You're going to have tons of eggs, and you're going to say, wow, I got too many eggs. But you got an incubator. Right? So I hope you got a rooster in there, because without a rooster, you're going to have blank rounds there. I'm pretty sure you know that. And then what? And then with your incubator, you're going to be producing chicks. And then you got to get smart about marketing. Like, why would people come to Nancy's house to get chicks? She's going to have to be a little creative there. You're going to have to get on Facebook probably, and so your friends and neighbors can know that you have chicks for sale. And what? People don't want chicks last year, but then this year they're like, I got to do something, right? Now, are chickens the answer? It's a start. It's not the answer though. But Nancy, you've got pigs too, and chickens. So that's a valiant effort, and you're headed in the right direction for sure. For sure. You're going to have eggs, and you're going to have, any extra eggs that you have. Let's say, how many? 24. Let's say you're getting 24 eggs a day, and you eat 6, and then your incubator's full. And then you remember, you're going to put lime water. You're going to put a cup of lime in a gallon of water, right? You're going to make a lime solution, mix it up real good, and then you're going to put your eggs in a white bucket and cover them with that lime solution, right? Make sure they're not cracked. And don't wash them. Just, if there's any poop on them, just kind of work it off with your hands. And maybe if it's real poopy, under the faucet, but no soap. And then, so you're collecting enough eggs, and then you figure out how many eggs do you need to get through the winter, and collect that many eggs. And then after that, sell eggs, incubate them, sell chicks, and get some money for those chicks. You're going to be running your incubator, and it takes attention and all that stuff. And you should get, I don't know, you probably paid $7 a chick for those Australopes. Probably did something like that. A friend of mine was telling me, Tractor Supply, they were really expensive. They didn't mention those ones, but usually those are kind of heritage breed, and they go for more. Okay, so there you go. There's a way that you're not just going to survive during this. You're going to prosper. You're going to prosper. And then what I would do, if I was you, Nancy, I would be thinking scrounge. I'd be thinking scrounge. I would just be total scrounge mode. I am total scrounge mode. I am always, if I see a pile of something, maybe that needs to be my pile of something. Maybe it's a pile of something I can use. Maybe not. Maybe it's something I could trade somebody. I'm not talking stealing here. I'm talking scrounge. Okay. A brewery, right? And you go in and say, hey, do you guys do spent grains? I can pick them up. And if it makes sense with gasoline at $5 a gallon, maybe, if it doesn't make sense, don't do it. But feed for your pigs is going to cost money too. So if you can scrounge stuff like that, that makes a lot of sense. All the stuff coming out of the house. If you live near people, you can start a service where you pick up their garbage and feed that to your chickens. Really, the chickens they eat coffee grounds, right? Okay, so you can really develop that. So there you go. There's my input on Nancy's statement there. And that's what I'm looking for. Let's see another statement here that I can. And Andy talking about working his tail off, right? Sure you do. So if you have hens and a rooster, you get no chicks. Somebody lied to me. No. If you have hens and no rooster, you will get no chicks. I hope, Sean, yeah. So, you got to have a rooster um, to fertilize the eggs. You'll get eggs with no rooster, but if you try to incubate them, nothing's going to happen. And ooh, as far as incubating eggs, if you buy an incubator, you can build one. You can, but the ones they make, boy, they are really slick. If you buy an incubator, you'll read the directions in the incubator. Okay. All right. Coastal is with us. Diesel in NS, Nova Scotia. I do that. Is $2.02 a liter, or $9.09 a gallon. Wow. Wow. Okay. What are we going to do? Yes, just a small one, 12 eggs. I'll put the other ones with my parents' chickens. Okay. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. The nice thing about an incubator is when let's say you have 24 Australopes, and you might get a couple of them that are willing to sit on eggs. They call them broody, right? And it's hit and miss, and then the baby chicks out there, a lot of times the morbidity on them is not good. You know, an incubator is a great invention. It really is. And along those lines, somebody could be thinking, hey, maybe I could get, like a 122 place incubator. And it could actually be a nice little facet on the homestead during this time. During this time, we're doing that. We are doing that as we speak. Jill said, nope, we need a new one. This one's not working. And why are we spending $5 per hen as a chick? Why are we doing that? Why don't we have this incubator? It'd be fun for the kids. It's fun for me, actually. And then have our own chickens. I mean, it just makes complete sense. And I tell you, okay, I don't want to ruin the surprise. Okay. Oh, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? Nancy's saying she saw my video on the incubator. That was a while ago. Yep. Okay, Coastal. I made a home built unit that holds about 400 chicken eggs and 25 dozen turkey eggs at the same time. Man, that's big time. You can make some money doing that. So you could prosper during this time, because you know that a lot of people are going to run to homesteading now. People will. Fairly cheap to build. I wonder if we could get some information on that up on the tribe. That is really interesting content. I would love to see some of that up on the tribe, if you don't mind. Post some pictures and stuff, and how you built it, and maybe make a video with a little commentary on how you built it. You would have a serious impact. That would be a good thing to do. Okay, Brittany's saying, I'm getting my incubator out once we get home and order eggs. Hope I can get some from my chickens to get more layers, even though I don't want more this year. Well, yeah. Nancy says, I don't think I could build one. Don't know much about electricity. The ones they make are really hot stuff. I remember seeing one. I had a big one here. I had one that would probably hold. Maybe that's the video that you saw. I bought it off. I traded it off a guy, right? And then I never used it. I just never used it. I was going to, but you know how that goes. And it was in the shop for a long, long time. Tried to make a dehydrator out of it. That didn't work. Finally disposed of it. Yeah, kind of too bad. But it was a really big unit. It would have been very intense. I wound up getting into other livestock, and chickens, that's not really my passion. So, okay, Inga's saying, the dominoes are tumbling fast. We're on the edge of chaos. Well, okay, but don't say, oh no, pulling hair out, saying it's time to get innovative. Now is the time to get innovative, right? Hard times make hard men, right? So let's get innovative. Set your mind to thinking outside the box. How are we going to make lemonade out of lemons here? How are we going to do that? Okay, we got incubator. Okay, Nancy's saying, I was put on a waiting list. What, for a kidney? Okay. Interesting fact, you can tell the sex of an egg with reasonable accuracy before incubating it. Well, see, now that needs to be on the tribe. That needs to be explained. That is a skill that we need to know. Like, you cannot keep that. Saves from hatching out massive numbers of roosters. You know, it would be a neat thing, Nancy and Coastal, if you could put together a package of like 2 roosters and 30 hens and sell it as a package deal. All right. Okay, Coastal says there's a channel called J-Man Random that has good instructional videos on it. Yeah, but we want to see you. Does it with quail eggs, but the same basic idea for all poultry. Okay. Piglets are doing great. The male pig, if I call him over, he will let me touch his snout, like say hello. All right. I hope you've got him. Well, maybe you're not going to cut him. Maybe you're not. You know, they do need to be castrated if you're going to eat them. He came from squirrel's litter. They're all very tame. Natasha's litter. Oh, squirrel's litter. They're all very tame. Natasha's litter is where the girls came from. Much more skittish. Okay, so Nancy's pigs came from Coastal's place. So that's cool. There was a meetup there. That's cool. Off grid says I need to get a treadmill. All right. What for? You got to generate electricity? Chrono, welcome. Says we talked on the stream last year about having a price farm goods based on food and fuel inflation. About having a price farm goods based on farm and fuel inflation. Yeah, I don't recall that. But maybe you could enlighten us on that, what we said. On the homestead, maybe you're getting at on the homestead, like my economy is different than my neighbor's economy who works in town. He does live out here in the perimeter with me, but he goes to town. And so he's driving, and of course, he's got a 3/4 ton pickup. Got to have that, right? And he's driving it into town to go to work, which is 20 miles away, and then home and running around with it. So his economy is just different than mine. And here I am, the full-time farmer, and I use a minivan. I love my minivan, my man van. Off-grid North Country, I want to grow tobacco. That would be smart. It wouldn't be a bad idea setting up a still at this point. I know that's not playing by the rules. That's actually against the law. If the economy crashes, if you think it might. All right, this should be interesting. My dad finally said tonight over dinner, it's time. He is 84 years old. He told me to go get everything we need to weather the storm. That hits. That hits me. I really wish we could interview him and find out why now. Inga, we're heading to a barter world. All the money is being sucked out. Okay. I can expound on that. I happen to know Inga, and I happen to know Inga's daughter and son-in-law, and I know the farm pretty well. It's Hidden Creek. A place like Hidden Creek, you, Inga, could set up a counter there. There's just an idea. Hidden Creek produces a lot of food, and it could probably produce more, right? If you had more hands, you could probably produce more food there, right? I think they would agree with that. Depending on what's available, like you can't say, okay, we've got people to help, we're going to produce more chickens. Well, that's not going to work if you can't get chicken feed, but let's say, well, I can buy hay all day long. All right, go buy some calves, because you run that through the calves. Hopefully you can get enough to feed them out, and you can go to work. Now, at that counter that you would have, now I don't know how it's going to be exactly, where it's going to be, probably in the little resale shop, maybe right in the doorway. You just have like a French door that shuts, and when people come, maybe you would take something besides greenbacks. Maybe you would. And so your specialty would become, okay, somebody has just brought me a can and they say it's got diesel fuel in it. How do you know diesel fuel from something else? How do you do that? So that would require a thought process of, okay, if I'm going to take this, I got to make sure that it's not going to contaminate my tank by taking this. I personally would be very careful. I would never put it in with the fuel that I have. I would never do that. I would always keep it separate. And with diesels, you got to be really careful putting fuel in them, because if you put a bunch of water in it, and that can be tough. But that type of thing. Let's say somebody comes to the farm and they're like, well, we don't have any money, but I got this double barrel shotgun that nobody uses. And you have to be able to look at that and say, well, it's an antique. We could allot you this many, it's worth this much, and I can give it to you in hamburger. Okay. So that might be a thing that you could do, because Hidden Creek is going to be a focal point if what we think is going to happen happens and there is a scarcity of food. You're going to have people coming there a lot, right? And people just, I need food. And that's something to think about as well. When you have people come who are not members already, how is that going to work? You know, how are you gonna make that work, right? That might be a kind of a tough one. Okay. Coastal says tobacco seeds are small like dust. I am so lucky that I do not use tobacco. I used to dip skull, and it was a really hard thing to quit, but I don't do it, and I haven't in 30 years. So I'm really glad that I don't use tobacco. Okay, good one. Nancy coming through with another one. I invested in rabbits for meat and fertilizer for my garden and to sell. That is a smart investment right there because rabbits multiply. It's pretty hard to keep them from multiplying, except here we have bad luck with them. But rabbits are a really good survivalist source of protein because all around you in the summertime, there's things that are growing that they can eat, right? And if you just make it your business to, you know, head out with a basket and just start picking things, and you know, you might come across some like, well, look at these maple leaves. I wonder if they'll eat these. So you pick a few and bring them back, and if they eat them, oh, great. Got plenty of maple leaves in the summertime, especially in Canada, right? And other things. In your, hopefully you're going to get a garden going. It just seems like any place you break the soil open, you'll have weeds come out. And you know, if you find a weed that they really like a lamb's quarter, maybe you just say, I'm going to let that one grow because a lamb's quarter will get a stalk on it like that and it'll go 6 feet high. That's a lot of feed, you know, especially if you don't take the whole thing down, you just coppice it or coppice it. You're just taking branches off. You just pull branches off. Oop, that's enough for that pen. Pull more branches off. Oh, that's enough for that pen. Lamb's quarter is really good stuff too. You can eat that. Which reminds me, you might want to say, I need to know what grows around me. Because we always think of, well, for a salad, I got to have lettuce for that. But you know how many things grow in your environment that you could pick them, put them in a bowl, you know, chilled or maybe not chilled, and put vinegar on them and a little bit of oil and salt and pepper, and you've got a salad. My wife does that, and I really look forward to it because you get some super flavors that you don't get with lettuce. Lettuce is kind of boring, you know. Lettuce is sort of like corn of the leafy uh, leafy greens. Okay. Oof, this is getting rough. I'm not gonna make it through here. Making biogas and put in 20-pound biogas cylinders. Now there's a deep subject, Keith. There's a lot of research you can do on that. And if you start making biogas, you can, I mean, just very easily run all of your cooking on that biogas, and then you go from there. You know, okay, well, I'm going to cylinder it up, and I'm going to save it for wintertime. Okay, well, now you can have a burner under a plate, and it's a source of heat for the house. I mean, that is really exciting to me. I want to do that. I want to learn how to make biogas. All right. I think that's a winner. I think you all should, you know, key through that process and you come up with a good design. I encourage you to videotape it and photograph it and share that with the tribe. That would really be neat. All right. Chrono is saying meat will be the new booze. The Agenda 21 World Economic Forum crowd is gunning for us. Best margins will be in animal protein. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you want to know what I think about that? I mean, for me, how do I turn lemons into lemonade? A few weeks ago, Jonathan's down in Texas right now, learning how to butcher beef with Sean Kelly. Right, and we did a hog harvest down there in January, so that really warms my heart to have that happen through this meetup here. Sean's a guy from Michigan, lives in Texas with his wife Amy, and John's a guy that's from way over in Minnesota with his wife Brittany, and they are going down to Texas. And through this meetup here, they make plans for Jonathan to go and butcher cattle with Sean for the day. The reason this came up is because Jonathan was saying, "Hey, I can't get my 5 steers in to be butchered until October 2023. I believe that's what he said. Let's say it was 2022. That's still too far away. That means those animals are going to be getting big, and they're going to need feed, right? And so they start becoming a liability real quick. So when Jonathan gets back, let's say that he says, "Hey, I can do this now. I've learned how to do this." I saw him on the tribe with the splitter, cutting that beef in half. And Sean gave me one of those splitters too, and it really works well. But let's say Jonathan comes back and says, "Hey, I can do this." Well, what do you need to do now? Now you need to set up a rail that's up 16 feet, whatever, I'd say 16. You need to get a hoist. You need to get smart about shooting beef. Like, what do you shoot them with? Where do you shoot them and all that? You know how to skin them now, you know how to cut them in half. I don't know how much time you spend cutting up the primal cuts, but go back and learn that from him. And then when you come back to Minnesota, you're the man. You're the man. You could do one a week. I don't recommend doing it for other people. I recommend going around and say, "Oh, those are nice cows. Yeah, I can't get them processed. I got no feed." "I would buy one from you. Can I buy one?" "Sure. I'll sell it to you for $500. Get it out of here." You just come back with your new tractor and your 22, boom, bring it back to your place and break it down and put Brittany and Harley to work out there bagging up hamburger and sell the hamburger for $6 or $7 a pound. I mean, you literally will make lemonade out of a lemony situation here, an icky situation. You will actually make money. And the sky's the limit. Buy pigs, process them, sell the meat. You don't have to have a stand out by the road. As a matter of fact, you don't want to stand out by the road. You want people to drive in, and then someplace in your compound, you have a freezer, and people can go in there and they can take out a pound of hamburger and leave you $6 in a coffee can. You only will have people coming that so family and friends, and then friends of friends, referred by who type of thing, and keep a record of who they are, where they live and stuff. Have them fill out an application if they want to be part of your group, your CSA, if you want to call it that. So here's what I'm doing. I've told you this, but I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to make it in time. Like right now, we have a pretty nice group of people that comes to the farm and gets milk. I would like it if the store was built so they could drive down there, they could park. I'd have a nice parking area for them. There'd only be 1 or 2 cars there at a time. And they could go in the store, look around, buy a coffee mug, maybe a sweatshirt, Baker's Green Acres baseball hat, a Baker's Green Acres spanking stick, and various other things, and then get what they want, pay however they want to pay, and then split. That's how I want it to be. But we're not going to make it there in time because we don't have the shop, we don't have the store built yet. And there may be some hangups along the way. So I'm going to move a freezer and a refrigerator down by the butcher shop, right in the driveway. I'm going to build a roof over it off the side, a very temporary setup with sides. So these, the upright freezer and the fridge is right there. And people can stop in the driveway, get out, grab their milk. It has their name on it, right? Because they're getting a share. And then the other freezer's there, and it's got a sign on it that says beef burger, this much, whole chickens, this much, cut up chickens, this much. And it's right there. So they're cooking, and maybe they say, "Oh, you got hamburger here," when they don't have it at the store. They don't have it at the store. So then you say, "Well, we're going to run out of hamburger here. I got a trailer and I got a truck, and I can find cattle all over this county right now, cheap. Why? Because you can't get them in to be processed." So you see what I'm saying? I mean, makes sense to me. Makes a lot of sense to me. And normally there would not be this flow of people to the farm. But because of this austere conditions, there is. Right? Okay. Chrono says, I'm planting a large sunflower patch to supplement poultry feed this year. Hey, that's a good idea. And they're fun too. Brittany, we are going to trade in my car for a smaller vehicle, and this summer it will be a bigger garden. Yeah. I would say minimal. You garden like your life depends on it. Just be very disciplined about spending an hour a day doing what you need to do. Just be really disciplined about it. And your weeds, make sure you've got a good place for your weeds to go, like hopefully rabbits. So Nancy, you need to learn how to process rabbits. It's not that hard. If you come to the Tribe Day, Frank's doing a block on rabbit processing. So okay, off grid. I will go back to the horse and buggy if the gas gets too high. Okay, Dunghill Fowl. Dunghill Fowl got that name for a reason. Raise good foragers. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm aware of that. When the cows go out and they do a cow patty, in about 4 days, you'll have the worms in there. And some chickens would like to go out there and spread that all out and eat those worms. Protein's protein, right? We got too many roosters right now. Need to make chicken dinner. Chicks in Tractor Supply are too expensive. Tell me about it. Okay, pickled eggs last for years, yes. And if you're running the counter there at Hidden Creek, if you make pickled eggs in your spare time, you could have them on the shelf and sell them. We hatched out one incubator last fall. Seems the chickens we have don't set. Yeah, you can't really depend on chickens to set. They're, yeah. Well, there you go. There's Chrono saying $6 for a rare heritage breed at Family Farm and Home now was $4.50 last summer. So if they're getting $6 and you sold them cheaper, just think Amish. Just think Amish. We can do it cheaper. That's what my Amish neighbors say. We can do it cheaper. All right. Chrono. We have 2 electric incubators, but specifically keep a few broody breeds like Cochins and Sussex around just in case. You know, I would like to have a separate chicken house. You know, just when you get a hen that's wanting to set, and then you can separate her out and she can set in peace. Yeah. Also, way cheaper to have a hen heat your chicks, and the babies taught by mom always better forages. Yeah. You know, if we get a really good incubator this time, I think we'll probably set it up right in the store. And that way we could sell a lot of those chickens to people. Good. We incubated duck eggs back in the primary school, early 70s. Way cool to see them swim for the first time. Ooh, early 70s. Man. Good thing for kids to see something like that. Yeah, right on. Okay, Coastal Gardening. Incubator build video is on my channel. I didn't know you had a channel. I did not know that. Is it just Coastal Gardening? Because I would check that out. Inga's saying the same thing. What is your channel, Coastal? Didn't know you had one. Okay, so I'm sure we'll see it later on in the thread. What about sharing seeds between each other? Yes, that will be going on here. But I mean, you're not going to want to come over here from Minnesota for a seed share. So you probably should set one up over at your place, and you can share other stuff too. You can share rootstock, and you know, if you've got chicks, bring them along, and you need to set that up. Okay. I hit a nerve with CD32 Ink Tonic. Love my minivan too. Great for hauling feed, etc. Yeah, it's the coolest thing. I mean, it's not as cool as a pickup, right? When did pickups become cool? I don't know. But mine it's our old family van, and the seats fold down except for the ones right behind the driver. It's a Toyota, so it's super dependable. And I took one of the seats out right behind the driver's seat, so I have an access way in, it's like a gun door. You know, the doors slide open. You can hang an M60 off of there if you're going down the road. And then the back is it's all open, so slick. So I have a couple toolboxes in there, and if I'm going to go someplace, I can get the dog can jump in, and if I had to, I could push everything to one side, and I could crash out in a sleeping bag in there if I had to. And you know, if I had a pickup and I had my tools all spread out in the back of the pickup, then you got to put like a topper on to keep your tools out of the weather. And then you have this little port to get in from the back. It's nothing like a minivan. It's lower so you can reach in. You know, it's easy to get in and out of. You know, not that I have problems getting in and out of anything, but I'm saying some people could, like maybe Coastal would. Early 70s. What's with that? I was 10 years old in 1970. So I'm just pulling your leg. Bryce is with us. Tamarack, Michigan's with us. Right on. I hope you're going to Tribe Day this time. Should have a forager on Tribe Day, a table of edible weeds to show people what they can pick and be eaten. We do. That's Jill, and she does her weed walk. Okay, Keith is going to build a digester. That's good. That would be so neat, man, if you built that and were able to transport that down for a display on Tribe Day. That would be cool. Cattails have lots of uses. Yes, they do. Oh, okay. You're heading home. From Texas, Brittany, Mark, we are going to try a pig at the end of the month. We will just be sausage, but it'll be practice. Right on. Butcher a pig, I'm sure, is what you're saying. Yep. We are out of the snow, so it's just a matter of staying awake. Oh, all right. Brittany lives in Minnesota, about 2 hours from the South Dakota state line. Angus says, I bought 27-gallon grow bags. It will be mostly potatoes and a few tomatoes. I live in a mobile home park. Okay. Well, I would think you would be going out to the farm every day and throwing down with Lee and Crystal. I need a fly swatter in here. Yeah, Tribe Day is in July. Tribe Day is the 9th of July. It's a Saturday. And we're allowing people to come here afternoon on Friday if they want to set up a campsite. Brittany, Mark will try to make it to Tribe Day, but not promising anything right now. I understand. I understand. All right. Well, I think we hit some things. Again, I can't stress enough what's missing in the countryside. I said this last night. We were talking about there was a guy with us last night that's in the UP and wanted to know about. It was Ben, and I don't see him with us tonight, but he wanted to know about processing. And my statement was there's only one USDA processor in the whole Upper Peninsula of Michigan. That's a huge area, right? And so if you went up there and set up a custom processing outfit, I mean, a really nice one, you could clean up because people don't raise animals up there because they can't get them processed up there, or they're raising them up there. There's a lot of grasslands up there, so they're grazing cattle, and then they're shipping them down below the bridge to get them processed. It's stupid. It's just stupid and expensive to do that. With gas prices, I will visit the farm once or twice a week. Would love to live in Musk, though. In Musk, though. You know what you should do? I can tell you what to do, Inga. You need to get a school bus. You would be the perfect chick for a school bus. Yeah. Muskie gone. That's an Indian name. They're trying to communicate with the white people. And the white people are like, they call this place Muskie gone? No, the Indians were trying to tell you it's not a good place to fish. The muskies are gone. Get out of here, whitey. That's what they were trying to do. All right, Tamarac's going to come. Cool. Okay, Coastal, I'll put a comment in the section under the video later and that you can click on. You know what you could do? You could put it over on the tribe page, Coastal. Maybe you're not on Facebook. I mean, some of you, Nancy's not on Facebook. A lot of people aren't. I'm hearing about the new social media that's supposed to be coming out, they're not letting people just flock to it because they don't want a bunch of, you know, robots or bots or whatever they're called. So maybe that will be an option for us down the road. Although we haven't had any problems with getting kicked off lately. I mean, this channel's just small enough where nobody really cares. So if you could give us the thumbs up, and oh, by the way, over at bakersgreenacres.com, there is now a store there where you can buy all kinds of nifty things, and there will be custom coffee cups going in there. My daughter-in-law is working feverishly at that. These ones aren't custom. These are the kind that, you know, but that's our new logo. Really like it. Jim printed it on a little cheese cutting board today, and I posted a picture of it saying that it was a, you know, a paddle for paddling kids, and got a little bit of action out of that. That was kind of fun. Truth Social isn't in Canada. Ooh. Ooh, sorry about that. You may be just going to have to come down to the United States and visit with us. Yeah, we're going to make a Baker's Green Acres paddle for paddling your kids. I said on the thread, I said, genuine Baker's Green Acres child something or other, barbed wire wrapped extra. And then Amy Stumpo said, the handle's too short. And I said, oh, this is the one that's made for toddlers. All right. Well, here we are. We went an hour and a half, so we'll call it good. Tomorrow night's going to be Open Line Friday. So if yous want to talk about some other situations, especially if you think about this, let this sink in. Somebody's going to come up with a great idea how we can make lemonade during these hard times. It's like they're trying to prohibit quality. They're trying to make us miserable. It's austerity conditions is what they're trying to do, and they're saying they're doing it for our own good. They always do. They always do it for our own good. Aren't they nice? So, you know, if you're heavily plugged into the system, they can get at you. If you're not heavily plugged in the system, or like I am, it doesn't really matter. You know, it really doesn't. Can cut back on usages of things, but we still eat good. Still gonna go swimming in the pond. Still have a nice bathtub, take a bath. I got a soft bed to sleep in. You know, I'm gonna, you know, I'm just not that plugged into the situation where it's gonna hurt me that bad. And it didn't during the Wu flu either. It really didn't. So that's my charge tonight. Just think how the Kennedys did. Okay, Ghost says, hope we're all still around tomorrow. 311. 311. Does that mean something? It must mean something, but it's not ringing a bell with me. I guess Q started posting again on Chul. I don't know. See, I'm really conflicted because once in a while I listen to Owen Benjamin, and Owen Benjamin says that's all PSYOP. But then sometimes I think Owen Benjamin could be a PSYOP, right? Because he says things that don't make any sense sometimes. Like he says that Trump talked people into storming the Capitol. Well, I saw that. Nobody stormed the Capitol. And supposedly the story's coming out as somebody committed suicide in solitary confinement. We really don't even know, you know. So time will tell. But one thing for sure, there's a storm on the horizon. Get our ducks in a row, and we will stay as comfortable as we possibly can. And it's not a bad idea to run some of these things up the flagpole. because I got a phone call today from somebody, and I got to call the guy back because he was reaching out to me for a prepper thing, and said, "Well, what do you know about solar power? Like I want to be ready in case shit hits the fan." And I'm like, no, 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 no. You don't want to do that now. You want to take care of basics now. You know, if you think that you're going to set up enough solar to run your dishwasher, that's going to take some money and some doing. And you might want to do some research on it, but get your butt down and buy some oil and a lamp and flashlight batteries and then a bunch of beans, rice, canned salmon, all that stuff, Band-Aids. I'm not a big bullet guy. What are you going to do? I mean, you start talking that way and it just seems like, okay, this is just going to be, fighting over cans of peaches with AR-15s. And I don't even want to think about that. I don't even want to go there. I'm not going to kill anybody over food. I'm just not going to do it. So I don't even like to say beans, bullets, and Band-Aids, like there's going to be house to house shooting. We're all humans here, for goodness sakes. We're not causing this. We just got to help each other a little bit. So, okay, let me get going. Remember, anyone can farm. Okay, let's see. Lots of picky little clues that they like to leave around, kind of like 9/11. Huh. Well, I'll be here because I got things to do tomorrow. So, all right. See you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for coming. Anyone can farm. Great. I have a really good idea that I think will benefit the family. Period. Maybe we could chat tomorrow on the phone. Can you come for dinner Saturday? Question mark. Sounds like worms. Period.
I'm gonna head up. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Night, old buddy.
Night.
Night. We'll see you in the morning.
Yep.
Maybe. Maybe. Who brought the wood? Who brought all the wood? Small splits. No, you brought this one in? Yeah, cool. Yeah.